So, very good evening to all of you. We completed two lectures in this chapter number 4 of grade 11, that is classification of animal kingdom. In first lecture, we had an introduction. In second lecture, we with elaboration understood the terminologies that is commonly used in animal kingdom classification. Today we will have a brief idea about the animal kingdom, and in this it will be very important part for us to understand what are the different diverse types of animals that we look around us. They belong to which part of animal kingdom, and so that we can identify majority of them with perfection. So I request all of you, when I teach you this chapter, if you wish to learn it from the point of view of just mugging up, you may forget things because too much data is there in this case. But if you try and correlate, try and see the different type of organisms that is visible in animal kingdom, it will be very easy for you people to understand. So with this, I am starting my lecture with a brief outline of animal kingdom. So I guess the screen is visible and I am clearly audible to everyone.
Yes, ma'am.
So this is the brief outline of animal kingdom. You can see over here that in this animal kingdom, organization is started from the protozoa. So protozoa is something which we already completed in the classification of 5 kingdom. Protozoa have so many similarities with the animals that it was once considered as a part of animal kingdom. Now they recognize their role in five kingdom classification as protista. So basically, level of organization wise, animal kingdom can be classified into protozoa and metazoa. So metazoa means someone who is having more than one cell. So protozoa are unicellular and metazoa are multicellular. Now this metazoa can be further subdivided into 3 types, which is called mesozoa, that is having cellular level symmetry, parazoa, which is also known having cellular level symmetry, and eumetazoa or enterozoa, which is having tissue and organ level symmetry. So porifera is someone who is having just cellular level symmetry. In their case, they are having a group of cells, no differentiation of cells properly is visible in case of parazoa, that is porifera. In eumetazoa, you have tissue and organ system level symmetry. In this case, the symmetry is observed in 2 ways. One is radial symmetry and other is bilateral symmetry. Apart from that, we further classify organisms as diploblastic and triploblastic. So, in case of radial symmetry containing animal, that is Coelenterata and Ctenophora, Coelenterata is diploblastic and Ctenophora is triploblastic. Whereas, kindly mute yourself. So basically, we were talking about these two. Now next is bilateral symmetrical animals. This will have prostomus which are having protostomes and deuterostomus organisms. So these are depending on uh, these are depending on the development of anus and mouth. So you can see that protostomus animal can have acylometa, which is platyhelminthes, pseudocoelometa, which is nemathelminthes, and eucoelometa, which are actually having two true coelom. Okay. Deuterostomes are having echinodermata and chordata. They are by default coelomate only. So they have coelom. So they have coelom present in them. Okay. So I am going to deal about each and every type of organisms. But I thought it's a huge path we need to go. So from the beginning only, if I can give you an outline, it will be really helpful for you. So is the picture of animal kingdom clear to all of you? Class?
Yes.
Any doubts, anyone? So silence means no. I consider it like this and I will move ahead. Okay. So we will look into each and every phylum one by one. So we will start with the parazoa, that is called porifera. So parazoa is a porifera. So the topic of discussion starts with the porifera. Okay. I want all of you to concentrate over my writing so that it will be helpful for you to understand. So porifera, the name itself suggesting they are pore-bearing animals. If you look into them, they are actually all aquatic. As life was originated on earth underwater, so initial organisms in plant kingdom as well as animal kingdoms are aquatic animals, and that is the reason why porifera, which is the most primitive animal of animal kingdom, is aquatic. But in aquatic, it can be found in marine habitat. It can be found in freshwater habitat. Generally, the marine porifera are not transparent, but in freshwater habitat, you can find porifera which are having transparent body, and they are really beautiful in them. Okay. Now, their body is either having asymmetric symmetry or they may be having radial symmetry. Okay. What about the germ layers and level of organization? They will be obviously diploblastic. They don't have the mesoderm present in them. Okay. And they have the cellular level of organization. Apart from that, I wish to mention that they are acoelomere. So this is the most primitive form. Sometimes it is observed that in between the ectoderm and endosperm, there is presence of jelly-like structure. It is not mesoderm beta, it is called as mesoglia. Okay. Now we will come into the part structural organization. So here the body wall have two layers. Outer one is known as pinacoderm. And the inner one is known as choanocytic choanoderm. Okay. Apart from that, yes, beta.
मैम ये मीसोग्लिया मतलब वो जो दो कोई भी एक्टोडर्म या फिर मीसोडर्म के बीच में वो जो जेली लाइक स्ट्रक्चर होते हैं वो
I said that only, beta.
हाँ मैम वो थोड़ा कंफ्यूजन हो गया इसीलिए
Okay, no problem. So, secondly, apart from these two layers, actually, the outer layer have cells. So, outer layer have cells which are called pinocytocysts. So these pinocystocysts So these pinocystocysts actually are having flagella, and they have flagella and collar cells. So this flagella is having a very important role in the life of porifera. Why? Porifera are non-motile animal beta. They cannot move from one place to another place. They actually get attached to a substratum and they remain attached there till their death. So obviously some continuous supply of food and other things are expected in their body in such cases. Okay, so that is how actually it is ensured by the collar cells and the flagella present there in the pinocystosis cells that the continuous flow of water can be maintained. Flagellas undulate which maintain a flow of water inside the body of these poriferans. Is it understood, beta? All of you?
yes
Any doubt? So in their body they have pores through which the water comes inside and then it comes outside, and in between the flow of water is maintained by these flagellas present in the choanocyte or the collar cell. Okay, so this is about wall. two layers of wall and each are having their own types of cell. Now if we look into the other properties, the body have central cavity. So if you look into the structure of a porifera, you will be able to see that if this is the structure, they have pores through which the pipes are exposed to the exterior world. All these small pipes combine at one place to form a central cavity. So I am talking about this specific central cavity. Understood, class?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
This central cavity is known as spongocell. It is known as spongocell. Look into the spelling. Okay. Now, what happens is these are having body is having many canals. So body have many canals. Canals and pores. So through these pores, water gush in, and through these canals, actually they reach to different part of the body. Okay. Now these pores, the numerous pores which are there, for example, here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8 pores are there. These small pores are known as ostia. So the small pores are known as ostia. Ostia in plural, ostium in singular. And there is one big pore here through which water gush out. So through all these pores, water is coming in, and through this big pore, water is gushing out. So this big pore is known as osculum. So now you understood the role of collar cells with flagella. What is the role of collar cells with flagella? They actually are responsible for maintenance of this flow. ये देखा जाता है कि हमेशा पानी ऑस्टिया के थ्रू अंदर आए और ऑस्टिलम के थ्रू बाहर जाए. Understood, everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, the question is, sponge is known for one big, very important property that is known as elasticity. Isn't it? Sponge is known for elasticity or not? Have
Yes,
you ever
ma'am.
seen sponge or poriferas in your life? Ever? ओरिजिनल हम में से किसी ने नहीं दिखा है. इनफैक्ट ये जो स्क्रॉच ब्राइट में स्पंज आता है दैट इज सिंथेटिक. ओके. So nowadays, due to thought process of people that we should go eco-friendly, many people started using the original sponge, but original sponge have less shelf life and it is more susceptible to degradation. So we are more prone to the synthetic option of sponges, which is not at all eco-friendly. They cause lots of environmental pollution. So what do you think can be the secret of the elasticity of sponge? In case of sponge, they have endoskeleton. So this endoskeleton is made up of spicules. So what are these spicules? Spicules are something which are responsible to form the supporting framework of the sponge. Apart from these spicules, there can be presence of fibers called spongin fibers. So spongin fibers are made up of protein. Now, depending the nature of spicule can be made up of calcium carbonate. It can be made up of silicon also. Okay. So there are cells which secrete these endoskeleton material. There is a cell called scleroblast. Which actually secretes the spicule, and there is a cell called the spongin fiber secreting cell, that is spongioblast. So spongioblast secrete the spongin. So generally it is observed that the porifera live in fresh water, have their spicules prepared by silicon, that's why they are transparent. And aquatic marine sponges have it prepared by the calcium carbonate. So any doubts in this part?
Ma'am, can you repeat in which case the outer spicule is made up of silicon?
In case of freshwater sponges, porifera.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. So in case of control and coordination, they have like barely possible nervous system. So they don't have cephalization. Cephalization is a big no. In fact, they don't have any nervous system at all. As they are attached to the substratum, they don't have any locomotion. So you can understand how primitive they can be. Okay. So in a circulation, they have a system called water vascular system. In water vascular system, actually it is very simple. Sponge remain at its own place. Water go inside to via ostia and come outside via oscule. And this flow is maintained by the choanocyte of the collar cell. Now we will talk about excretion. In case of excretion, first I wish to mention that they are ammonotelic, and these organisms excrete by two means, one by diffusion and by water vascular system. Understood? Is it clear to everyone?
Yes,
So
ma'am.
whatever excretory substance cells have, it is deposited into the water that is gushing inside the porifera, and when that water is coming out of the body of the sponge, the excretory material is thrown out. That's why from cell to water, it is coming out via method called diffusion, and then from body to outside, it is carried by the water vascular system. Okay. So with this, we are going to understand this concept. Now we will move ahead. With the other physiological activity of the sponge, that is porifera. We will now talk about the other systems of this organism. Actually, in this case also, the method is diffusion. The dissolved gases that is present inside the cell is once again coming out via water, vascular system. So that water vascular system is once and for all. Okay. Now let us talk about digestion. Obviously, what these sponges eat, how they obtain their food if they are not able to change their position, how they then manage. In case of digestion, the water pass through vascular system, carry the food. So water go inside body. What type of food they are carrying? They are carrying microbes present in the water. That is what porifera do eat. So once it is going inside the pores and the canal system, the distribution of food is done by a special type of cell which is known as mesenchyme. So mesenchyme is a layer of cells which is responsible for distribution of food. It is there, and of course water will be there, obviously. So now we will talk about reproduction. As it is so primitive, it can go for asexual reproduction. In case of asexual reproduction, it reproduces via a bud formation which is known as amule. Some part of its body get converted into a bud, and when this bud detaches from the main body, it will give rise to a new organism, a new porifera. Okay, so I guess all of you studied about budding earlier. You studied about yes. So you are okay with that. Now, actually, apart from asexual, they have sexual reproduction also. In case of sexual reproduction, they have internal fertilization. You must be wondering, क्यों internal fertilization? Generally, primitive organism में external होता है. They have internal fertilization because they cannot move. So they don't have chances of spreading gametes everywhere. They don't have chances of losing their own offsprings due to external fertilization. That's why they are aquatic and they stick to internal fertilization. So this is a striking character you need to remember about it. Next thing is the organism is bisexual. So they don't have to go outside. They can have reproduction inside them also. This is another result of reason of internal fertilization, and their reproduction is indirect via a larval stage. So Special character, I wish to inform you, they have high regeneration power. Even if you can cut their body into several pieces, from each piece you can have the animal rising. So it ensures that in spite of being non-motile, they should not be extinct. So I wish to give you example of one marine and one freshwater porifera. Cycon is marine porifera and Spongilla is a porifera which is freshwater. Okay, so I wish to show you the photos of poriferans, so that once we are done with the information, you can have a look. So these are the characters of porifera we already discussed, and this is how their body looks like. You can see that outer layer, and you can see the presence of inner layer over here as the collar cells which are having flagella. These are spicules which are present below the skin. These are small pores, and ostiolum is comparatively bigger, you can see over here. And this is the spongocele or the central cavity. I guess my screen is visible to all of you, beta?
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yes.
And these are glimpses of different types of porifera in nature. I think we are beautiful. You can see the ostiolum over here. Yes, beta?
मैम ये जो ऑस्टिलम आपने बोला वो फिर से आप एक बार समझाओ ना, क्योंकि मेरा नेटवर्क इश्यू था इसीलिए.
So you can check the recording. If you have
Okay, ma'am.
doubt after that, you can ask me. Okay?
Okay, ma'am.
So now we will talk about the Coelenterata, that is Nidaria and Ctenophora. Previously, both of them are called as Coelenterata, but Coelenteratas are now divided into Nidaria and Ctenophora. So that's why we are going to study about them separately only. So let us start our discussion with the Nidaria. See the spelling. The spelling is a bit different because C is silent over here. So why they are called as Nidaria? Basically, they are nettle-like organisms. Nettle is a type of nut, and they have actually tube-like body. So, but this is not the reason why we call them Nidaria. The reason for calling them Nidaria is about the stinging cell. They have a stinging cell called nidoblast. So these nidoblasts actually can sting the prey, and it secrete a hypnotoxin. Hypnotoxin is something which paralyzes the organism it is stinging, and they can use it as a prey easily. Okay, so what is the habitat of these organisms? They are actually aquatic, and Rarely they found in fresh water, so they are marine. They can be either solitary or colonial. Solitary means they live alone, or colonial means they live in a colony with so many other organisms. Understood, everyone?
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
So now
Yes,
we will look into the symmetry. They have a symmetry which is called radial symmetry. Now, what about the germ layers? They are diploblastic with tissue level symmetry. So you always, when you prepare about the notes of this chapter, I suggest you prepare tables. I can share these screenshots to all of you. You can make a big table by like fusing 2 or more pages, and in each table you put all of these points as heading and then write down the characters. When you look into all these organisms from the point of view of comparison, you will be able to understand what is common in the like previous class and what is common in the next class. So that is the way you will be able to remember, otherwise everything will be mixed up. So they also have mesoglia. As they are diploblastic, they have mesoglia between the two germ layers, that is ectoderm and endoderm, and still they are acoelomate. They don't have coelom present in them. If you look into their structural organism, the interesting thing you find about them is called polymorphism. So what is this polymorphism? In their life cycle, they have two structures which are known as polyp stage and medusa stage. So these polyp and medusa stages look exactly different from each other. I can show you the picture later on. Polyp stage is the cylindrical structure we are able to see. Medusa is named as medusa because of the tentacles present in that structure. Because Medusa in Greek mythology एक राक्षसी थी जिसके बालों में hair के बदले में सांप थे, and if anyone like she is looking at anyone, that person used to turn into stone. Hercules ने उनको हराया था. So that's why in memory of Medusa, these two stages are named as Polyp and Medusa. Okay. Now, unlike always under differentiation porifera, these organism has in body wall, they have outer layer which is called epidermis. Similar to us, we also have epidermis, and the inner part or the inner world is called gastrodermis. So the role of outer wall is main function as protection, and the inner part is responsible for physiological activities like digestion and excretion. Okay. In their case also, the body can have calcareous. Calcareous means I intentionally use this word. Calcareous means made up of calcium carbonate. So calcareous exo or endoskeleton may be present. In some cases, calcareous endo or exoskeleton can be present. We will later on obviously look into the structure. Now I wish to go for control and coordination. The structure part is clear to all of you, beta?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
So let us go into control and coordination. They also do not have any cephalization. So brain is not developed in them. But unlike porifera, these organisms are mobile. So as they move, they need to have some kind of mechanism to move their body part. So that's why primitive he sahi, they have certain sense organ present in them. So they have the sense organ and network of nerve cells present in them. Apart from that, they actually have flexible tentacles at oral surface. So if you look into them, you will be able to see this as a structure of Niveria. The very, very common example is Hydra. You must have studied about Hydra previously. So these are the tentacles. They have single pore. And if you look into the body wall, the outer layer is known as epidermis, which I am marking in green. And the inner layer is known as the gastrodermy, which I am marking as the maroon layer. And inside that maroon layer, there is a hollow structure, that is the hollow cavity. Understood, everyone? Class?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So basically, now we will talk about circulation. Actually, in their case, they are very small and they can move. So water can directly go inside via this pore. So they have no circulation as such. So the circulatory system is very much underdeveloped. In case of excretory system, they also excrete ammonia, so they are ammonotelic. And the major mode of excretion is by diffusion. So their body surface diffusion is responsible for diffusion of the ammonia gas. Okay. So I guess you understood this part and we will move ahead. Let us look about the other physiological process of this organism. As far as respiration is concerned, this is also done by body surface, diffusion, in case of digestive system, they have blind sac, body plan with one opening. So what happens is, beta, the digestion is by the gastrodermis layer, and it can be intercellular as well as in between the cavity that is having is there, it can be intracellular. As far as reproduction is considered, they have two stages in their life cycle. As I mentioned earlier, they have two stages. One is known as polyp stage. So the specialty of this polyp stage is it is cylindrical and solitary or colonial. It may be either solitary or colonial. Other thing is that the polyp is going for asexual reproduction. Okay, and by asexual reproduction, it produces the second stage, which is known as medusa. So the medusa stage is actually a stage where tentacles are there. And they reproduce by sexual reproduction to produce polyp. So you can understand in their life cycle, they have distinct alternation of generation between polyp and medusa. Polyp is produced sexually from medusa. Medusa is produced asexually by polyp. Understood this part, beta?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
So apart from that, they can have this fertilization, internal or external. They definitely can have internal or external fertilization. I am continuing further in this special character portion. So fertilization, apart from this thing, we need to understand their development is indirect, and they actually develop by a larva which is known as planula larva. So planula is a larval stage through which their development takes place. Can you tell me I am missing something? Have you heard about another mode of reproduction of hydra?
Budding.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Budding.
So it can reproduce asexually by budding. Asexual reproduction can be via budding too. And the example of this is hydra. So any point of concern which you feel that we should discuss?
मैम
Yes, beta.
आपने जो ब्लाइंड साइकिल लिखा है तो मतलब ब्लाइंड एग्जैक्टली क्या है?
Now let us have a look into the different attributes. These are the attributes we talked already about. So polyp and medusa are the stages, and these are the like examples. They have such descriptive name. Cylia is known as Portuguese man of war. Adamsia is known as sea anemone, and meandrine is known as great cod. Let us have a look into their structure. So if you take a cross section of Hydra, you can see these are the structures of Hydra. I already talked about epidermis, mesoglea, and gastrodermis. This is the gastrovascular cavity at the center. And these are the nerve net, which is responsible for controlling the movement of the tentacle, and single mouth or pore, which is responsible for excretion as well as ejection. So you can see the beautiful pictures of organisms like sea fan, brain coral, sea anemone. You know, it looks like a flower, isn't it? And Cylia, which is known as Portuguese man of war, because they have similarity with the Portuguese cap. That's why they are called like this. Is it clear to everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
So we will move to the next class, that is actually called Ctenophora. In this case also there is a twist in the story, because C is silent here also. So these Cnidaria and Ctenophora, both of them previously was inculcated together into Coelenterata. So we will talk about Ctenophora. The way I told you why Porifera are called Porifera and Cnidaria Ctenophora. So actually Ctenophora is combination of two words. One is ten, which means comb, and second is phoros, which means comb bearing or comb pouring, that is pour. Okay, so they have a structure called comb plate, which presence of which is giving this name Ctenophora. So these organisms are also aquatic, and they are not available in fresh water, so they are marine. I request all of you to remember this when we will study about evolution in grade 12. You will be able to understand that how life was evolved in a marine condition only. In case of symmetry, they have biradial symmetry. What is this biradial symmetry? Biradial symmetry is a combination of radial symmetry as well as bilateral symmetry. So they are also diploblastic. A few member of these class can be diploblastic also. They have tissue level organization. Still, they don't have organ level organization, and still they are a coelomata. If we look into the structural organization, here also they have epidermis and glastiodermis. In this case also mesoglea is present, but here the difference is, in case of Cnidaria, they have stinging cell that is called cnidoblast at the tip of tentacle. Here in this case, the cell that is present is coloblast. Coloblasts are adhesive cells. Present at the tip of tentacle. Okay. Another distinguishing difference is they don't have any skeleton. Neither exoskeleton nor endoskeleton. The skeleton concept is absent in case of Ctenophorus. Okay. Now we will talk about the sense organ. Here also cephalization is absent. So no cephalization is there. But the comb plate is connected to nerve fiber. These nerve fibers are controlling the comb plate. Okay. They actually move by either by tentacles or comb plate. These are the structures used by them for locomotion. So they have a special sense organ known as statocyst. Statocyst is a sense organ which maintain balance. So the balance of their body is maintained by a sense organ called statocyst. Circulatory system is very underdeveloped. Here also simple diffusion method is enough for circulation. In case of excretion, there is a twist in the story. Although the main mode of excretion is by diffusion of body surfaces, there are actually ciliated cells of digestive system . The role of these ciliated system cells are They maintain the water balance. The water balance of the body is maintained by these ciliated cells. Okay, so that is all about these parts of ctenophora. Now we will move ahead and look into the other properties. For respiration, it is simply by diffusion via body surface. For digestion, they have a complete digestive system. So this is where they are superior than the Cnidaria. So they have both anus and mouth present in them. Okay. Next is, if we talk about their reproduction, they are also bisexual, and the fertilization is external. Next thing is, they also have indirect development. Larva stage is present during the development of these organisms, and asexual mode is absent in them. Special character of these organisms is bioluminescence. Lot many members of this class show this property of bioluminescence, where actually the living organism can emit light in the darkness. Many organisms of this class are very, what I can say, very bottom dwellers. They present at the bottom part of the sea. That's why they have such kind of property. Example is Borophorskali. Minimum one example is expected by you people to understand and remember. So Borophorskali is the example. We will look into the examples. Ctenophora.
मैम जेलीफिश आ सकती है?
नहीं. Which jellyfish?
मैम नाम तो नहीं पता, लेकिन एक दो ऐसी जेलीफिश है जो मैंने वो गूगल और उस पे देखी है, जो ग्लो करती है ब्लू कलर का.
ग्लो तो बहुत कुछ चीजें करती है बेटा. All of them cannot be. There are microbes also which glow. So this is Bolinopis chuni. You can see how it is glowing. So these are foam plate or teens. You can see teen plates, foam plates presence over here. And this is how they look. This is the original organism at the right side. This is the diagram. You can see how beautiful they are, expressing the bioluminescence. So we will continue our discussion with the other phylum animals. Phylum non-chordata के जो other animals है, we will talk about them. But I wish to share you with you a special diagram of polyp and medusa, because I think by simple describing them, via words is not enough. So I wish you people to have a look into the images of polyp and medusa stage. I'm going to directly show you via Google so that you can have wide variety of diagrams at your display. Is the screen visible, beta?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So if you look into the structure, you can easily see that this stage is Medusa stage with tentacles similar to that Greek daemon, and this stage is cylindrical and called polyp stage. So this is how actually they go for alternation of generation. Understood?
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
You can have a look into the original pictures also. All of these are polyp and this one is medusa. So this stage is polyp and this stage is medusa stage. Okay, so with this we will conclude our lecture today. We talked today about most primitive animals, that is Porifera and the Coelenterata, which includes Nidaria and Ctenophora. So we will look into the journey of evolution, where we will look into other classes of animals too. Any questions from anyone's side? So then bye to all of you. We will meet tomorrow and we can discuss the rest of the part in our next class. Bye. Bye to all of you.
Bye, ma'am.
Ma'am,
Bye.
thank you, ma'am.